Hey, what's going on, guys? We are about to head in here to the 2019 Arnold Classic Championships. The guy to my left, you may recognize him as the Guerilla Chemist. He is one of the most brilliant men within this industry. And finally, for the first time, you're not working for somebody. You have your own supplement line repping here in Columbus. How are we feeling about that, bud?
It's a little surreal, to be honest. I never expected to have my own thing. It's very nice to have control over things. As far as formulation, I don't work off a budget. I start with formula. If I want to spend $15, $18, whatever on a product, I can do it. I don't have to worry about any ingredients. And then I have a good team with James Bacuzzi, my partner, who's like the best at sales in the industry, I think, is wholesale and kills it. So we get along real well. We have a great relationship. And so far, I think I'm very happy with the way our first products come out and what's in line for the next.
Your Instagram profile, like, you cover a lot of different ingredients. You talk about what the dosages should be. You talk about what the effects are, and you talk about synergies. Like, this pairs well with, like, hornine, for instance, pairs well with caffeine, etc. And you have developed this pre-workout in which there's a lot of talk about it in terms of it being really strong. And we have it at home, and we're going to try it too, a half a scoop. When you formulated it, did you formulate this for yourself, or was there a certain consumer that you had in mind for the pre-workout?
Initially, I used to be a high stim guy, and I did formulate this for myself because I was experimenting with specific ingredients that work on different receptors in your central nervous system and in your brain. Like, for example, I have alpha-hindbite in there for a very specific reason, because as for a MAO inhibitor, I have hegetamine in there for a very specific reason. And so I wanted it to be a very focus-driven product. It just turned out to be extremely strong, and honestly, it's not as much as the stims as it is with that full gram of Kana, which, if you guys have heard me talk about it, I'm a big fan of Kana as a mood enhancer. Most people, the study dose is 25 milligrams, but when you research how it's used in South Africa, where it's indigenous and that people chew it, stuff like that, it's the gram, 1,500 milligram range is what they use. So I was experimenting with a bunch of different doses, and that gram really brings everything to the next level. So that's what I feel like gives that high stim feeling, because like we said, the caffeine is 350 milligrams. It's not a crazy amount between the total of citrate and anhydrous. So it's not all the other stims. It's the blend of everything that comes together.
Yeah, I love the fact you brought up Kana, because not a lot of companies are using Kana, but it's a very good mood enhancer. It's a relaxation agent in terms of anxiety, which then is going to elevate, a lot of what else you have in that formula. So again, I'm excited to try it. I've not tried it yet, but like hearing all the feedback on, there are people who absolutely love it. There are people who want half of it, which then means, guess what? You're saving money, right? Because you're only using half the serving size, so it lasts you longer. The future of this brand is extremely bright. Like, how many different products do you think that you're going to release under the Chemix brand in 2019?
We have an intro that just got released, which I'm very excited about, because I'm the only one that I know of that has that 4 grams of ornithine, where it was that study that shows that establishes ammonia. And as you know, ammonia is one of the things that causes fatigue during a workout, and it's damaging to your cells and things like that. So I'm happy about the intro. We have a pump that a non-stim pump formula that I just got a sample of last week that I'm very happy with. It has 3 branded ingredients. One is a trademark ingredient that I made complete myself, a blend of a couple things, so I'm excited about that. And then I have some cool stuff in the works, an EAA that we just talked about that has a very specific doses for very reasons, and that will be full transparent. And then I have a really cool cortisol inhibiting, like pharmaceutical type strong stuff that nobody in the industry is using, that I'm very excited about. So we'll probably have between 5 and 7 products, I would guess, for the total for the year.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I get, like you said, that it's surreal for you, but you've been formulating products for big brands for a while, right? Like, some of the better brands, or some of the better products that we reviewed at FI, have your logo on it. You formulate them, right? Like the initial Dust Extreme, which people were like super stoked about. That was you. Hype Extreme, that was you. Obviously, you worked with several other companies, but now it's yours. I need to ask you too, like, a lot of companies now are doing these higher stim pre-workout products, but also trying to give and induce a pump with it, which we've known, like, stims and they pump, they kind of counteract one another in terms of, like, one constricts blood flow while one promotes it. Are you able to achieve a higher stim pre-workout and a high pump in the same product? Is that possible?
It depends on the stimulants you use. Some are very vasoconstrictive, like especially 1,3-DMA was extremely vasoconstrictive, very hard to get a pump when you're taking something like that. some of the ones that I used, I feel that yes, you still can get a pump, especially that's why I used glycer pump instead of some of the vasodilators with this one because of the stimulants. And the glycer pump, as you know, is a glycerol, so it's hyperhydration for your cells. The pumps come from mostly water and like interstitial tissue and that thing. So I'm happier with the glycer pumps, and people are reporting they like the pump from that alone. And so you can mix certain vasodilators with certain stimulants, but it's not a free for all. It's not what the question you asked is not as simple as yes or no.
And we're going to do a podcast with you as well, obviously get more in depth in terms of science, because your background in this space is like it's deep, that we don't have enough time to sit and talk about it today. I want to talk about.
Sorry to interrupt. I can give you a specific example.
Okay.
Agmatine and yohimbine.
Okay.
They work differently, and agmatine is your alpha 2 agonist, where yohimbine is your alpha 2 antagonist, and so they kind of can conflict on each other a little bit. So those might cancel out if you're using agmatine for a pump and alpha yohimbine or yohimbine for a fat loss or something like that, so or stimulants. So that's an example of where you shouldn't combine those two ingredients.
The other area to grow your business in the world is to expand internationally. Chemix right now is in the States. Obviously, you can get it in other countries however you want to, but like there are certain ingredients that you use that are not available, that you can't have in other countries, right? Like alpha yohimbine is not allowed in the UK. Right. So when you decide to expand outside the States, which I'm assuming at some point in your business venture you're going to want to, does that excite you to look at some of these regulations in other countries and understand what those are, what you can and cannot use? And then do you see that as a challenge in formulating a product that you think could work, that you might have to leave a couple of these stims out of?
Well, I have some experience with Blackstone because we did do international products, and so I'm familiar with Australia and UK more than anywhere else as far as which ingredients are legal and illegal. So we have started working on Australia formulas because we know we can't have the yohimbine and we can't have huperzine in the UK, and I have a good alternative for that does essentially the same thing as a acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. So yeah, I love trying to find new ingredients that do the same thing that might even work better than like say hordenine is a common one that people use, but there are other MAO inhibitors that work just as well or better where you can't use hordenine somewhere. So yes, I do see it as a challenge, but as a chemist, I love reading papers and I love trying to find new things out there that most people don't use. So yeah, I do enjoy it.
Favorite stimulant? What's your favorite stimulant right now on the market today?
I really loved 2-amino, DMHA. I loved it way more than DMAA. I thought it was more euphoric, but I don't know if I'd call Kana a stimulant, but it's a great mood enhancer. So I'd have to say DMHA was my favorite, or is my favorite stim. I don't really take it anymore, and I didn't feel comfortable using it in my product because I don't know the legality. If it's going to get removed, do I have to reformulate everything? So I wanted to keep this formula as long as I could before I'd have to change anything.
Favorite nootropic?
Like legal or synthetic?
Illegal. We'll keep it at illegal at this point.
Rhodiola is probably one of my favorite. I love rhodiola.
Expensive as shit too.
Lion's mane, yeah. The price just went up like crazy for good rhodiola and lion's mane. I love lion's mane. That's why we put 600 milligrams of lion's mane into the Chemix Pre.
For people who aren't familiar with lion's mane, it's actually not the mane of a lion, it's a mushroom, so just make sure you guys know that. We're going to let you get to the show. We're excited about the Chemix brand. We're excited about everything coming out of Umbrella. We're going to have him on the podcast. We'll do more in-depth background on him, because for those that don't know the background of this guy, it's extensive, and he's got some really cool stuff he did in college that has really kind of put you on the map, and you worked your ass off to get to where you are, so I want to be one of the first, not the first, because many people have said this, but congratulations, because, I mean, working for somebody for a long time, it pays the bills, but now it's up to you, and you've got some formulas that are making a lot of noise in this industry, and a lot of feedback coming from FI on the Chemix brand.
Yeah, honestly, I can't wait to hear your guys' feedback. So, like I said, I have some samples for you guys to try if you want to try them this weekend instead of waiting till you get back.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I do always recommend everybody I've given samples to this weekend try and half a scoop, half of the sample pack. Some people, even if they're stim sensitive or non-stim sensitive, I still recommend half a scoop. It is very strong. I do not take a full scoop myself. It is
My question with that is, if I'm only taking half, am I missing on half of the other stuff, right? Like Pico 2, which is a great ingredient. If I'm taking half now, am I not getting the effective dose of Pico 2 because I'm taking half?
There is a study with 1 gram of Pico 2. The good thing about Pico 2 is it's a saturation point, right? So once you hit 28 grams total, you can have a maintenance phase of Pico 2. You don't have to keep taking 2 grams a day. There is
14 days.
right, exactly. And so that type of ingredient, it's one of those things where yes, once you reach that saturation, you can get away with the half scoop. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to have something where if half of it has everything that you want from there. So, but I still think half a scoop is enough for you to have a great workout and have focus.
Right? Assess your tolerance. If it's not strong enough, up it to the full scoop. So, but I think that's smart. Even anytime you start a new pre-workout in general, like assess your tolerance unless you've been using like some of these pre-workouts with 600 milligrams of caffeine, which is just ridiculously dumb. So. For real, let's get you on that podcast. Let's talk about it. It's going to be great. Guerilla Chemist on Instagram. He educates on a daily basis. He educated here this weekend to many people, and we're excited to try the line at fitnessinformant.com.